Colorado's famously geeky governor drops some science, and it's going to hurt the state's economy. Yet he says the health experts are clear. We must shut down gathering places to slow the spread of COVID-19. Gyms, theaters, casinos, close. Restaurants and bars ordered to shift to takeout and delivery only for the next 30 days. Add those to the schools, ski resorts, government offices, and the businesses prioritizing public safety, and we are talking about a significant shutdown. Coloradans are being asked to hunker down and emerge ready to support our local economy when the threat passes.
I don't even drink, Marianne, but I'm going to toast when this is over.
And an entire state strategizes on how to beat cabin fever.
I don't want to let this thing keep me cooped up completely.
That's next. The days for denial are done. The governor says there are likely thousands of undetected COVID-19 cases across our state. He's ordering a shutdown of large gatherings and directing restaurants to stop dine-in service immediately. Health experts from Colorado clear up to the White House podium are direct. We are facing a health threat that requires action on a level that we have never known. Coloradans, all Americans, are being asked to sacrifice for the greater good, especially to protect those most at risk from the COVID-19 virus. Just like that risk, we know the burden will not be shared equally. The president's asking all of us to temporarily give up gatherings of more than 10 people. Now, for some, that's going to be missing out on fun or fellowship. For others, that will mean devastation for their businesses and their livelihoods. So as we listen to health experts directing social distancing, we must also listen to our neighbors for what they will need to weather an economic storm like we've never seen. Governor Jared Polis today closed gathering places like gyms, theaters, and casinos while ordering restaurants and bars to shift to takeout and delivery only for the next 30 days.
These are very difficult decisions, the goal of which are to reduce the severity and duration of this public health crisis. Again, you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish. If you try to squeeze a few more days or week of business into bars and clubs, you'd be looking at a much longer absolute closure and more drastic measures as a result of the lack of foresight.
The governor is encouraging impacted businesses to keep people on the payroll if possible, but it's pretty clear at this point that a number of Coloradans are going to lose their jobs as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. Colorado currently offers 26 weeks of unemployment benefits. That could increase to 39 weeks with the federal stimulus. The state told us today there's $1.5 billion in the state's unemployment fund. They said that's more than enough. Today, we learned the first case in Larimer County is an employee at the North Shore Health and Rehab facility in Loveland. Do you know that no one living there has tested positive yet? All those St. Patrick's Day crowds over the weekend in Denver proved that people are not going to stay home unless the bars close. So while bars and restaurants are restricted to takeout and delivery for 30 days statewide, Denver is starting an 8-week timeout. We asked Mayor Michael Hancock how that'll be enforced.
Our excise and licensing inspectors will be out monitoring particularly restaurants and bars with regards to that. This is not about a criminal act. This is more of, again, a public safety move. And while we expect everyone to comply, our inspectors will be active in the city to make sure we're managing it.
Mayor Hancock said that we should all look for information from his administration in the next few days on how the city thinks it can help the businesses that are affected. Colorado's legislators get an update on the state's financial forecast every 3 months, right on schedule, even on days like today when they braced for the damage expected from COVID-19. Our Marshall Zellinger also took a look.
I think some of us are a little stressed out about this right now.
Democratic Representative Danae Escar is the head of the state's Joint Budget Committee, which was allowed to meet today despite the legislature being on hiatus, because they're responsible for figuring out how much the state has and where it should go.
It feels like the rug got pulled out from under us. I mean, we had these expectations, we had these plans going forward, and now all of that is on the table. All of it needs to be revisited.
The committee gets 2 budget updates, one from the governor's budget director, who provided some good news.
I'd like to reassure folks that there's no immediate concern about available funds to respond to the coronavirus crisis.
The other budget update comes from Legislative Council staff, a nonpartisan group that advises lawmakers.
This is a good way to kind of contextualize how much money you have to work with.
Both updates predict less money than the state thought it was going to have. But this one from Legislative Counsel, which is more conservative, illustrates it well. In December, lawmakers were told they would have $832 million more than they budgeted last year. $832 million more to play with starting in July. Today, that number shrunk to $27 million.
Any new programs that were proposed will have to be revisited. You saw that we barely have enough money to afford current operations of state government.
Then there's the part of state law that requires K through 12 to get more money every year because of inflation.
We may have to either change state law or try to find the money elsewhere.
The bottom line, it's a kind of a worst case scenario, is to plan for the same money in 2020 and 2021 that we're currently spending right now. Now, you probably noticed something a little odd in that video, some extra protection on the microphones. This is a committee hearing room that won't be used often in the coming weeks because the legislature will barely meet. Just some of that extra padding to protect for whatever the padding is supposed to protect for. Here's something else I learned in that meeting. The Tabor refunds we were expecting next year and the year after, the money we get back when the state collects too much, the money that was on the ballot this past November that voters rejected letting the state keep for roads and schools, Kyle, that money is likely gone because the state is projecting not having as much as it thought it was going to have, so it's not going to have the money to refund back to voters that we thought we were going to have.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's not as if it's back to voters in the end. It just kind of goes into the ether. So much of this seems like it's all based in uncertainty, though. I mean, we start with this idea of we're going to shut down this or that for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks or whatever else. But there's no guarantee that anything reopens at that point. So how do they forecast? You know what I mean?
I mean, this is based on what we know now, but it's the sales tax they have to project, job loss. They projected we're at 2.5% unemployment right now, and that came in this meeting. The projection was maybe it's going to go to 3.1%. So they're even projecting some troublesome areas as well. I don't know how you budget that. That's why people get paid a lot more than I do to be smarter than I am. But that's something that we're going to have to watch over the next few weeks and months is how does the lack of money coming into the state in certain areas impact statewide? Yeah, we want folks to keep the lines of communication open with us about what can be done to help their businesses, help their personal situations, and their state legislators too. Now's the time to be calling folks up and emailing them and saying, here's my situation. Hey, I've got an idea. Let's get all those ideas. All right, thank you, Marshall. Governor closed DMV offices statewide today. State's offering a grace period for expired vehicle registrations as well as for new cars that have not yet been registered. You are in the clear through at least April 9th on your registration. Air Care Colorado is not offering extensions for people who need a vehicle emissions test. The state says if there's somebody who can't go get a test due to a health concern or quarantine, they will try to deal with that on a person-by-person basis. So many of your questions today about what's opened and what's closed focused on two main topics: courts, with people being called for jury duty, and casinos. So I briefly mentioned up top, Governor Polis officially shut down casinos in our state for the next 30 days, made that announcement about an hour ago. As for the courts, Colorado Supreme Court Chief Justice Nathan Coates ordered the suspension of some court operations. That includes all jury calls in state court, except for the ones in criminal trials that have imminent speedy trial deadlines. All other jury calls suspended through April 3rd. The court system will otherwise remain open. So the school districts that are able are trying to shift to online learning. Others are trying to send work home for kids to do while schools are closed. Our Nelson Garcia caught up with a teacher trying to add a personal touch.
If classrooms are closed at the Centennial School in Denver,
I want all my kids to make sure they have books, make sure they have stuff to do.
Chris Christoph will bring the classroom to his students.
I'm out here delivering packets of work and just kind of some supplies to families that weren't able to make it or didn't feel comfortable coming to school on Friday.
He's careful not to get too close.
We can do a long distance hug, an air hug. How's that? Air hug.
Obviously, social distancing is the reason why his building is closed through April 7th.
Okay. See you guys. Have a good one.
He teaches kindergarten first grade, and though the learning is important, Christoph says with young kids, he needs to do more.
It's definitely more about helping them feel comfortable with all the scary society stuff that's going on right now.
For 5- and 6-year-olds, he says, the school routine is important and a major part of development.
But everybody knows right now, all of a sudden school closed immediately. And that's a really scary feeling.
Parent Betsy Ambrosino says this visit can help ease her daughter's mind.
So I think that there is a lot to be said for being able to touch base with that important person in your life and make sure that, like, oh, everything's still fine on my end.
Other school districts are turning to remote learning for kids with daily online assignments. Christoph isn't sure
We can do an air hug.
that can work for kids at the youngest grades.
You know, it can take weeks to have them type a poem. How's it going? There's your work for you.
For now, he'll stick to what the kids know, even if Christoph doesn't know how all this will play out.
I'd rather be in my classroom. I'd rather be with the kids. So doing something to help them feels better than just sitting around at my house.
For Next, I'm Nelson Garcia.
Just to be clear, if it wasn't obvious from the camera angle there, Christoph was staying 6 feet away from the parents and the kids. Just a quick material handoff. Denver schools are closed for the next 3 weeks. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of stuff closed and restricted longer, so DPS is going to reassess as April 7th approaches.
Social distancing doesn't mean never leaving your place.
This is a couple people here and there walking by picking a disc up out of a basket, so.
We begin next great brainstorm on how to beat the boredom of the COVID-19 shutdown. And it's a sign that Coloradans are at their best when things are at their worst. That's next. Tonight's next question comes to us via Twitter. A viewer wanting to know why the Colorado National Guard is being deployed to Telluride for the COVID-19 response and not to other towns, especially since there are known cases in Telluride.
San Miguel County's health department told folks over the weekend not to be alarmed if they saw the National Guard in town. The Guard is there offering logistical help to set up mobile testing sites. This is the surveillance testing we've talked about, trying to give the state a wider picture of where cases might be popping up, perhaps not being detected. The state has specifically expressed concern about mountain towns that have limited medical resources. Tonight, it's a sign that the COVID-19 pandemic is bringing out the best in some Coloradans. A CU student named Rachel looks out her apartment window in Denver each day at the Balfour Assisted Living Home. Visitors aren't allowed there right now, so Rachel decided to write him a message. Dear Balfour, I'm sorry you cannot be with family now. Sending air hugs and kisses. Be well, from your neighbor. Rachel and a woman named Louise from Balfour got together to talk to us about the sign today. They practiced very good social distancing with Rachel 2 stories up on her balcony.
It seems like a nice way to just let the community know that I was thinking about them and know how hard it is, and just a reminder that we are all here for each other and that we should be kind and support each other.
Most of our residents are pretty excited about it and can't wait till this is all over so that they can give their neighbor Rachel a real hug and not a virtual one.
Good people doing good stuff. Listen, we get this is kind of uncharted territory. Everybody's trying to figure out what this means right now for themselves, for their business, for their family. We're trying to practice what we preach. We're enacting social distancing here at 9 News. You'll see our anchors seated farther apart. We've spread out in the newsroom a bit. We're trying to keep our colleagues healthy while also still bringing you information that you need so that you can do the same thing. Here's where we could use your help. Because we have not been through this before, I could really use your input on what you're looking for here each night. I mean, we'll cover the absolute most important stuff about the COVID-19 outbreak, but what else would you like? You're looking for different angles about how Coloradans are impacted, how they're helping positively. Would you just like a break, an escape, something different that has absolutely nothing to do with the virus? You can text your thoughts to 303-871-1491. You can email them to next@9news.com. And you can always shout at me on social media with the hashtag HeyNext. All right, so the line is open. Let us know what you're looking for.
So many of you have been emailing us, showing us how you are socially distancing yourself from your neighbors, and this is a great place to be. My goodness. John and Diane in Arvada ventured up toward Echo Lake, capturing some gorgeous shots, taking in a hike, and just being out in nature. Beautiful. The winds this afternoon have been picking up just a bit east of I-25, 33-mile-per-hour gusts towards Centennial. We are watching a bit of a shortwave just inching closer and closer into northeastern Colorado. So what that means, the cloud deck rolls in, plus we could see a couple of isolated showers tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower 30s this evening, 20s across the northeastern plains and then up in the mountains. So here we are about 11 o'clock. A little bit of rain lining up the I-25 corridor. Doesn't last long. We'll wake up to a few clouds here in Denver with some heavier showers in southeastern Colorado. And then by 5, 6 o'clock, how about we do it all over again with a bit more rain? Nothing wild. We are going to be looking at that passing wave moving out fairly fast. Overall tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, but still mild at 59. We'll stay in the 50s for most of eastern Colorado and even comfortable up in the high country. 64 windy on Wednesday as we welcome in the spring season. We will do it with snow. Definitely in Colorado fashion. Right now it looks like a couple of inches, but that storm system moves out and we should be back in business with some warmer weather next weekend.
Sitting down at a restaurant or bar is out. Sunshine and fresh air are not.
I don't want to let this thing keep me cooped up completely. So yeah, I'm staying away from the bars, I'm staying away from the breweries.
Let's explore what to do while we give our neighbors the distance they need. Next.
If we have to practice social distancing, at least we're doing it in a beautiful state. Sunshine and spring breezes right outside our door. Our Tom Cole took his camera to see people getting out without getting too close.
It's just a beautiful day.
We're here in Arvada, I believe it's called Memorial Park, but this is Johnny Roberts' disc golf course.
There we go.
I'm a plumber. I fixed his faucet one day.
Oh, that was 10 years ago. See, he doesn't respect me. I'm 1 year older. Look what he's doing to me. I got to catch up to you.
Ain't gonna happen.
We're here just to have fun, share something just between me and him. Taught him, and now he's beating me, so it's fun.
I feel like this is the perfect sport or thing to do during this time, because yeah, you're usually in groups of 2 to 4 maybe.
You can do this.
I've seen everyone from beginners to, there's been a few pros out here. They hold tournaments out here.
You don't see too many people crying on disc golf courses. And I could cry, like yesterday, 15 over.
My putting is awful. This course always destroys me in the worst way though. I should be like 5 under, 6 under, and I always get even. I don't want to let this thing keep me cooped up completely. So yeah, I'm staying away from the bars, I'm staying away from the breweries.
And it seems like everybody's kind of respecting everybody's space, just kind of why, what's going on in the world right now. So you get little pileups, but other than that, it's kind of just like a free-flowing, moving kind of thing, so nobody really comes into contact, so I think that also makes people feel a little bit better about coming out here.
It's changing a lot of people's lives, and so I'm out here playing disc golf. I don't mind being socially distant, so it's all right for me.
Lots of wonderful ideas from you on what we should talk about during the great distancing. We'll do that next. Sorry writes in tonight and says, burnt out on COVID-19. Can you please cover some feel-good stories, stuff that makes me feel like this isn't the apocalypse? It is certainly not the apocalypse. It's just something we need to take seriously. G. Swanson says, more jokes, especially during this time. Laughter is a form of healing and medication. I wasn't so sure about that, but she writes, I'm a nurse, and I try to encourage all my patients to laugh. Well, there you have it. I'll see you next time.